Consequence Podcast Network.
Lock it up.
You rock it up.
Rock it up.
Rock it up.
Rock it up. This episode brought to you by Nick B.
All right, fun fact about Nick B. During this quarantine, he's gotten a Disney Plus subscription.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. He
Yeah.
better be blasted through The Mandalorian because that is awesome.
Yeah, he said he only got it for Star Wars.
Did he know he can watch Frozen 5,000 times in a row?
No, but your kids do,
That's
don't
my
they?
house.
Well, Nick B, I hope you're enjoying that Disney Plus subscription. This episode also brought to you by Ryan.
Ryan tried to get Fern and Spike, but I fought him in an alley and stole my plants back.
Wait, what? Was it like a 5-minute long fight scene where you guys were just like walking up to each other and punching each other pretty slowly?
Yeah. Mhm.
Nice.
I kept putting the plant right in his face, and I said, "This is Spike. He's not yours."
And then you suplexed him? Oh, my
I did.
God.
I broke a couple of pots, so I had to repot both the plants, and
That's
they
fair.
almost died just because of the fighting.
That makes
but
sense. Yeah, it
saved
makes sense. Well, I'm glad that they made it through that process. Welcome back to another episode of The Patreonicals.
Oh, hello. Welcome, friends.
Gather up during this quarantine and listen to my tale.
This week opens, Eddie has a village of people. And you remember how we talked about it? It's like he's got animals working with
Well,
humans.
yeah, because he can control animals just like Aquaman.
Right. It's basically Dinotopia with
Dinotopia. Wow. That is amazing. I know what Mikey's been binging in quarantine.
with mammals.
Mammaltopia?
So Eddie's got him in charge, and he's been going out with trash pandas to go gather supplies.
You can call
You
them
mean raccoons?
please,
That's
Mikey.
what they prefer.
Yeah. How dare you?
Wow, you guys. Wow.
He's deleting every occurrence of Trash Panda out of his phone right now.
Yeah, we're going to have to make some
Search and
adjustments.
replace.
So anyway, he took his right-hand man, Derek,
Right.
who
Derek.
killed 30 people
Derek killed 30
Cannibals,
people?
the
Oh,
cannibal
okay.
virus.
I gotcha. Yeah.
to save the village.
Oh, I got you. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Awesome.
So Eddie and Derek are wandering the wasteland.
Right.
Okay.
With raccoons.
There you go.
Uh-huh. Eddie controls mammals because he can talk to them like Aquaman, like Todd
Right.
said.
Right.
Okay.
Isaac is living in sorrow because he accidentally destroyed the world.
Yeah, he
with
didn't
the
mean
sunny-
to. He just wanted to kill Matthew, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. And now that he's gotten his revenge, he feels empty inside and is watching the world burn.
As it-
Irony.
yeah.
This is character development.
Some men just want to watch the world burn.
They needed shampoo for the village.
That's a very specific need, but go on.
Okay.
Well, lots of mammals smell very bad. They need to wash the animals.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Mammals have hair.
Yeah, that's fair.
They go to an old rundown pet store, pet superstore. There's cannibals all in it, and they have to cannibal zombies now.
Okay.
Right. That's the worst combination.
Do they eat people or do they eat
Yeah,
other
what is the
zombies?
distinction between cannibal and zombie? One specifically only wants brains?
Some are alive and some are undead.
Okay. Oh, so it's a mix of some cannibal, some
Yeah.
zombie. Okay.
So-
Have they formed an alliance of some sort?
No, it's just absolute chaos.
Oh, okay. Pandemonium. Okay.
Trash pandemonium. So Eddie sends in the raccoons
Right.
to kill the zombie cannibal things, and they do. And then
Mission accomplished.
But they find a girl named Kate in there,
A survivor?
a survivor.
Nice.
She's unconscious, but she's okay.
Right. Unhurt.
She was allergic to Sunny D and skipped the virus.
Oh, God.
She's smart.
Yeah, honestly, I'm surprised anyone actually got sick by this
I
virus.
know. Yeah.
Who
But
drinks
when they
it?
were rescuing her, they got attacked by some more. And Derek hopped off their rhinoceros because they're traveling on a rhinoceros. I don't have to tell you guys that.
absolutely. Yeah, that's something you can gloss over when you're telling a story like this.
To fight them off.
Did he die?
He distracted them. He left. We don't know if he died or not.
Oh, so he like sacrificed himself, but maybe got
So
away?
he like
He
Jeff
maybe got away.
Goldblumed himself?
yeah.
Yeah. And the episode ends with the rhinoceros going to
Just
the
running
plains.
off into the
Yeah.
sunset full of shampoo for animals.
And an unconscious woman.
And an unconscious woman. Okay.
And they're hoping the shampoo might wake Matthew up, but it's probably not.
I mean, that's not what shampoo does.
No. But
They're desperate.
will the shampoo wake up Matthew? Find out next week on another episode of The Patreonicals.
Thank you.
This episode finally brought to you by Chris.
Chris wanted to remind everyone that you are loved. And we know that there's a lot of crazy shit happening and a lot of people are pretty scared right now, but we love you. We see you. We hear you. You're not alone, even though you might be alone in your apartment. We
Or
are-
house.
Yeah,
right?
or house,
Right?
or, wherever.
Hostel?
Shanty
Yeah.
town.
Right. Maybe you're plotting to overthrow an alien race.
That's right.
Yeah.
Your sunglasses factory.
Yeah, you're not alone,
You know?
guys. You are not
Hug
alone.
your trash pandas tight and stay safe out there.
And guys, if you want to reach out to an awesome community, join the Facebook group.
Yeah.
I came here to chew bubblegum and listen to theme music And I'm all out of theme music.
You're all a bubblegum. How do you mess
I did. I changed it.
that up? So you're looking at everything like you're an animal experiencing a new object for the first time.
What's this? There's microphones everywhere. Welcome to the Horror Virgin, everybody.
Oh, my God.
I'm Jen.
I'm Mikey.
And I'm your horror virgin, Taj, which means I don't like scary movies, but you guys make me watch them, although not today.
Sometimes we do.
But today, we have a very special guest with us, Barrett from CinemaSins.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome, Barrett.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yes.
Thank you. This is fun. I got to watch a movie that I haven't seen in years and really enjoyed it.
And it only took a global pandemic and a quarantine to get you on the podcast.
Exactly.
You have
I would
no
love to
idea
be
how
with
hard
you
that was to
guys.
pull off.
Yeah, I would love to be with you guys, but I am remote.
So if you haven't picked up on it by now, we watched They Live this week.
Yeah.
Because
Wait,
it's a
hold on.
Mikey
Go
month.
back.
Go back to where?
It's
we
Mikey
just
month.
started. Yeah, I was saying that. Wait, so your first foray into Mikey month was They Live?
Yeah.
I cannot wait to see what you have in store for us this month. Barrett just said he had seen it before. So Barrett, when was the first time you saw it?
Oh, geez, probably in the mid to late 90s or so.
Okay.
And it was right now. It's a cult classic. At that point, it was still ridiculed because
Really?
it had this. Oh yeah, it had this ridiculous camp to it. It had the famous bubblegum line and all that stuff. And so we watched it as pure comedy and that it wasn't actually very good. And it probably still isn't. But it's now considered like a biting satire. And back when I saw it the first time, it was just a broad, stupid wrestler taking on aliens.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly want to see The Rock and Kevin Hart remake this.
Oh,
because I feel
yeah.
like it is time for that movie to happen. But
It's going to happen.
But yeah, you're right. It is like culturally significant for our time now, which is insane.
I
really
think
is.
it's still dumb. And it's still
yeah.
a satire.
Oh, yeah.
But culturally and as a society, we've gotten so much worse than since it came out.
Oh, yeah.
Then now it's genius.
Well, because we haven't ever gotten rid of the whole Reaganomics thing that screwed up the 80s. I know too much about U.S. history. Mikey, you've seen this before, right?
Yeah.
Wait, let me just ask it this way. How many times have you seen this movie?
At least 6.
He actually remembered
Wow.
things that happened in it, so he's seen it more
Oh,
than
yeah.
once or
You were
twice.
just holding on for that end scene every time.
Oh, jeez.
So, Jen, was this the first time you had seen it?
This was the first time I'd seen it, and close to the first time I'd ever heard of it.
Really?
Yeah, this is
Really?
not really a movie for Jens.
Huh. That's surprising, Jen.
Yeah.
You usually like the crazy, almost not
batshit
horrors.
insane.
Yeah.
This movie to me is kind of like a House 2. Like I watched it when I was around that age
Yeah.
and
Oh, yeah.
connected with it mainly because there's like no romance subplot or anything.
Yeah.
No, when Keith David gets killed at the end, I lost my mind. I thought,
know.
oh my God, that's such a great twist. I mean, I think it's probably the best movie twist in any piece of
In any
cinema
movie
ever.
ever?
Yeah.
I choose to believe he did not get killed. That he Jeff Goldblumed himself.
Listen, he derricked his way out of there, and
Yeah.
I agree. I think he's fine.
He's dead.
Is he in the sequel?
Is there a sequel?
They did not make a sequel.
They didn't make
More
a
of
They
them
Laugh, They
live?
Love? Yeah.
I mean, this movie has everything: aliens, fist fighting, guns, blood.
And because of Keith David, it has acting.
Yeah. We have one actor in this movie.
You don't need acting when you have everything else.
All right, Jen, let's get into this fucking movie.
Mikey. All right. Okay, so we start with graffiti and a train and Rowdy Roddy Piper just like sauntering across the train tracks.
Yeah, very homeless looking.
But like rich guy homeless.
Very clean for a homeless man.
Yes.
Homeless man?
A homeless man?
A homeless man.
He's like Stallone at the beginning of First Blood. You know what I mean?
That's what we said.
Yeah, absolutely. It is very Rambo-esque. Yeah.
Yeah, he's homeless looking, but he's still looking pretty good. You know?
Yeah,
And they both have the
absolutely.
mullets, too.
Like homeless, but maybe at a campsite.
I mean, I'd hit it.
He had
I mean,
a lot of muscles.
He can get it.
Yeah.
Jen's not on
This
board
is
for the he can
not
get
a
it.
thirsty.
No, it is not. Jen is on the record as not being attracted to Rowdy Piper.
yeah.
Unless he's wearing his kilt. Then it's a whole different story.
Oh, yeah.
But what if you
Yeah.
put the glasses on?
So I put the glasses on, give him a bagpipe, and I'm into it.
I'm a big John Carpenter fan, so I love this movie.
Yeah, I was surprised this was John Carpenter because he did like The Thing, which is an amazing movie.
And then he did this, which is also an amazing movie.
Yeah, I mean, okay.
It's a different kind of awesome. All right, so we've got him sauntering across the train tracks, and he's outside of a city, and we also commented on the music at this point.
It is sort of insane. Like, the music sounds like it could have been for, like, a porn. I'll just say it. Like, porn music.
What kind of porn are you watching, Ty?
It would have to be like a very Western themed porn. Yeah, it's like
Sauntering
boom,
porn.
boom, 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 boom.
Hello, Pilgrim.
Yeah.
I'll say this. I do remember saying, as he's walking across the train tracks, I'm like, you know what this needs? A little saxophone. And then immediately a saxophone started playing, and I was like, I'm going to love this movie.
And for a movie with a wrestler, I'm so sad that the saxophone was not played by a greasy guy in his underwear.
Yeah, Lost Boy style?
I know.
Hell yeah, I'd be on board for that.
Missed opportunity.
Honestly, he should be like the third sidekick in this.
Yeah.
I don't know how that guy didn't work in every movie after Lost Boys.
Counterpoint.
Make a tape.
This soundtrack's great.
No, I think it perfectly fits the movie. Great. Like, would you listen to it on your own? Probably not.
No.
But, I mean, maybe if, you had a lady over after a little Tinder hookup, type thing.
Look,
turn it
I
on.
just wish
Take
when
it
I
real
made
slow.
dramatic statements, there was like a dum-dum.
Oh, yeah.
play afterwards.
It honestly sounded like a Seinfeld scene transition every time something impactful happened. It was great. I loved it.
Could have used a little more bagpipe.
I realized that his jeans were real tight, Jen, but you need to stop talking about his bagpipe.
Nice.
So, Jen, what happened next?
So the next thing that happens is it's raining. I wrote, it's raining. People are poor. Because there are like homeless people experiencing homelessness or just like poor, like
People
city
experiencing
folk.
homelessness is what happens now. People in the 80s, they were just homeless.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, that's what they were called. They were
Right.
homeless people. Yeah.
So he goes to an unemployment office and old lady job shamer.
I forgot about this scene. Yeah.
So old lady job shamer says, well, there's nothing available for you, Rowdy.
And he's
Sends him
from
on his way.
Denver.
He is from Denver.
Oh, he's from Denver.
Yeah.
That's all we need to know about him.
Well, and he's also married, but it's never talked about. Or at least he's wearing a wedding ring the entire movie, but
I
it's
think he
never
just
talked
forgot
about.
to take his ring off.
I honestly think the continuity director or whatever that person is on the first day of shooting was like, shit, he was wearing his wedding ring. Well, I guess he's married now.
Right.
In headcanon, his family's dead.
Yeah, if you had read the book of this movie and prepared correctly, Jen, you would know that
Oh,
his family
sorry,
was
sorry.
murdered in Colorado by, what are they, aliens? Snake people? I don't
They're
know.
aliens.
Okay.
So he's at the unemployment office and then he does not get a job. So he finds a preacher on the street. So we see a preacher kind of standing on the street and giving us basically the point of the movie.
Yeah.
Like he's preacher's positioning.
Absolutely. He seems like, if you guys have ever been to like a Comic-Con type event or just like a big event, you'll occasionally see like street preachers saying like really offensive shit to try and get people to like talk to them or whatever. It seems like that. But instead of him saying like horrible shit, he's saying some stuff that really makes sense to me.
Uh-huh.
And I was scared at how on board I was on for like the message of this movie,
Yeah.
how early it was. Didn't I have you guys pause it? And it was like literally 11 minutes into the movie. And I was like, I agree with everything that they're saying, and that terrifies me.
Yeah, because he's saying, why do we worship greed? They're the owners, they have us and they control us. And just like we are slaves to this greed and this consumerism and commercialism. So now the cops are there and he's kind of running away and we see him watching TV from outside somebody else's apartment.
Yeah, and I love this scene. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but when he's watching the TV, you can hear it perfectly, and he can hear it perfectly because he's like nodding along, or like you can see there's some reaction on his face, but the window's completely closed. Like, there's no way he'd be able to hear anything.
It's because in the book, it explains a little bit more about this. He has these special ear glasses that he puts on over his ears.
How dare you use
and
my
it
in the book
allows
against me?
You guys are making a lot of jokes, but the guy inside the house was very elderly and the TV was turned up very loud.
That actually could be true. Yeah.
Eat it.
So he now shows up at a construction site.
Just looking for work.
And he's got
Yeah.
his own tools, guys. So of course. you
Where
gotta
does he
hire him.
have his own tools? I mean, I will grant you that he has a backpack with a sleeping bag on it, but when he's talking to that guy, he didn't have anything with him.
I mean,
There's a hammer hanging out of his back pocket. If you guys
is there?
look.
Excuse me. I stand corrected.
Hey,
My
boss,
bad.
I've got a hammer.
Right.
Doesn't that mean I can be a construction worker?
I think we can see by how tight his jeans are that
That he's
he
packing
does
some
bring his
tools,
own
yeah.
tools.
Wherever he goes, he brings
I don't
his own
want to say
tools.
that this movie romanticizes homelessness, but it kind of does. That everyone looks really clean and no one uses any drugs.
That is
Yeah.
fair.
But it's a union job. So, anyways, long story short, he gets some kind of construction job.
Yeah, he talks himself into it with all the charisma that is
He
implied
does.
that he has.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
so he shows up and he's construction working sans shirt. So we remember that he is a wrestler.
He's buff.
He's like 80s buff. He's not like now buff,
Meaning
but
like,
he's like 80s buff.
like
yeah.
steroids buff. He's been hitting the glamour muscles.
Right. But his neck has a neck, which is funny to me. Those triceps or whatever these things are up here.
Trapezoids. on
Trapezoids. Yeah, that's what they're
yeah.
called. Definitely called trapezoids.
Aren't they?
I have no idea,
They are.
Jen.
They're traps.
I mean, I could ask my girlfriend. She's a personal trainer, but I have no idea.
We get it. You have a girlfriend.
I didn't mean to throw it in your face, Mikey. I'm very sorry.
I get it, fam. I'm going to die alone. I'm Roddy Piper, and this world is my alien-occupied
I mean,
resistance movement.
Of all of the movies I watched, I feel like you are closest to this character.
And I honestly think you are as good of an actor, if not better, than Roddy Piper.
This has come up a couple of times about his acting or lack thereof.
Wait, are you about to hot take and say he deserved an Oscar for this?
It's the subtlety.
It is interesting. I think Roddy Piper plays the character the way Carpenter wrote that character. I'm not saying he's a good actor at all. I'm just
that's
I
saying
agree.
Yeah.
he is good in this role, I think.
That's true. And it reminds me a little bit of like Neo in The Matrix. you
No,
know?
he plays it like he has the same kind of lines as Kurt Russell in The Thing. He's just a way less great of an actor.
Yeah, I would say
Yeah.
Kurt Russell's
Yeah.
a little bit better than Roddy Piper. Yeah.
But it's basically the same character.
I bet he has total 16 lines of dialogue in this entire movie.
But a lot of staring. A lot of
Oh,
staring.
yeah. I'm not saying I don't like him in this movie. I think he's awesome. And he's like perfect for what this movie's tone is and all that stuff. He's just not a good actor.
Yeah.
I agree.
I hate you guys.
It does make me wonder, like, if somebody else, like, if Kurt Russell had played this role, you know.
Oh my
what it
God.
would've
I
been
would
like.
love Kurt Russell to have played this role.
Just had that hat.
Keith David is kind of faux Ernie Hudson.
Yes, he is. Bobo Ernie Hudson, Keith David.
Maybe Keith David turned into the Thing at the end of the Thing.
Yeah,
and
that's
the
what I'm
thing
talking
that
about.
he turned into was Roddy Piper.
This is a sequel.
Good.
How do you think they
my
got to the
God.
thing? He thought it was going to be Kurt Russell.
That's why he didn't have any belongings, because he'd been walking from Antarctica.
Oh my God.
And sailed a ship for a little bit too. Construction time, and we see Keith David, who I love.
He's great in this. Yeah.
He is, yeah. So, and this is bizarre. So Keith David comes up because we find out that Roddy Piper can't get paid till Thursday, but I mean, it's like Monday. What's he
Right,
gonna
he's
do?
talking about being homeless, and Keith
Yeah,
David.
and the foreman came over and was like, hey, you can't sleep here.
Right.
Really? That's like, okay, I get it. I'm homeless. Stop throwing it in my face, jackass.
But so Keith David's like, hey, I know a place where you can get some food and shelter if you follow me. And Roddy Piper has taken a vow of silence and does not respond to this.
this is where the movie gets good.
No, this is insane because they walk off together, and then the next scene you see Keith David walking probably, 20 steps in front of Roddy Piper, and then he turns around and says, I don't like when people just follow me without saying why. Keith David literally just said, hey, follow me. I'll show you where this place is.
Exactly.
Okay, I need you all to close your mouths and open your minds.
Are you our first grade teacher right now?
Roddy Piper plays this character like a stray dog who can't talk.
That's
So
true.
when Keith David says, I know a place where you can get food and shelter, he just follows him.
Yeah, he says, go on, get. And then he has to be mean to him at the end, so Roddy Piper will think he doesn't love him anymore.
He had to beat him into submission in that scene with the sunglasses.
No.
The dog was just trying to do the best thing for him.
Oh my God. Guys, don't hit your pets. That's
No.
horrible.
No, the pet was beating up Keith David.
That's fair, yeah.
He just kept jumping up on him.
It was self-defense from Keith David.
I think technically it was. We'll get there, Mikey.
Well, so they have their little weird conversation, and so they end up walking together, and they get to this camp.
Homeless camp.
It's a shantytown.
Shantytown.
But it's like a pretty functioning one. Like it's outside a church, and there's like they can go to the bathroom, and so they start talking, and we find out that Keith David has a wife in Detroit, but he got laid off, and then we get a Keith David speech that I completely agree with about the steel mill got bailed out, but instead of like they got money, but instead of helping their workers, they just gave themselves raises, and if they close one more factory, we should take a sledgehammer to their cars, which is gonna happen.
I mean, we are legit about to experience that with the CARES Act.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, it's basically Occupy Wall Street as an alien invasion movie.
Yeah, which is
kinda
why I
is.
love it so much. Not what Occupy Wall Street became, but what it was when it first started.
Right.
Yeah.
So he's giving this speech and talking about they put you at the starting line and it's all everybody for themselves, but you eat like dog eat dog world, you know, which is interesting because Rowdy Roddy Piper
Is a dog. Yeah.
Yeah.
In a human body.
It's like the dog has a Patronus and the Patronus is Rowdy Roddy Piper.
That is, yeah. Expecto Piper!
And look, I watched Rowdy Roddy Piper growing up. I've got a soft spot for him.
Oh, yeah, you
Now
do.
we cut to a Lee Press on Nails commercial, which I really appreciated.
You guys have seen RoboCop, right?
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
What? I feel like this movie does like satire of 80s culture as well as RoboCop does.
I'd buy that for $1.
There's a couple of moments in here that are very Paul Verhoeven-esque, very much over the top, campy stuff like Total Recall, things like that.
Yeah.
And that press on nails in particular tripped me out because there's one moment where she's like typing and then she reaches over and just stabs a piece of cheese with one of her nails.
Yeah.
What? I missed that. Oh, my God. I
just
demand we rewatch this
appreciated-
movie right now.
I appreciated seeing myself represented on screen.
Yeah. With both the nails and love of cheese.
Right. And typing. I mean, which one of us took the notes for this movie?
That's fair. You were typing while this was going on. Yeah.
And check out the nails.
Guys, they are very long. It's actually just her one pinky nail that's very long.
But basically the message wow. Basically the message of the movie is that like the top earners hoard all the wealth and like there's the culture of excess and all that stuff. They're basically like what we're living now.
Yeah, the movie's message is about what we're dealing with today and what they were dealing with then, too, to be honest with you.
Right. The shrinking middle class and Keith David's monologues like we're all just trying to stab each other in the back to get ahead and blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah.
Yeah.
And he's right.
Yeah, I read an article that I'll link that said They Live was a warning and we did not listen. I'm like,
Holy shit,
Yeah.
that's insane, but 100% accurate.
yep. Okay, so as this Lee Press on Nails commercial is happening, there's a hacker that breaks in and he's kind of talking about a lot of what we're talking about.
Yeah, he's like on the TV. So it's like
Yeah.
static break in, and he's like, they're all among us. They're
Yeah.
pitting us against each other. We're cattle or slaves or whatever.
Yeah, and everybody gets headaches for some reason.
Yeah.
I think it's because the break-in transmission gives them headaches.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like feedback or a different frequency or something.
Yeah, because it's like trying to overpower the signal that's always going through the
Yeah.
TVs,
Right,
right?
right.
Something like that.
And it could be that like just the two things coming together in people's brains is hard.
I do think that if we dig too much into this movie, we're not going to love the pay dirt we hit. So maybe we should back away from the technology of it all.
Basically, listeners, there's an alien race embedded in our race. They're in like,
Yes.
they control everything. They transmit us to be subservient and
I think they're from Planet 1%ington.
Yeah. Yeah.
planet
Definitely.
capitalism.
Yeah.
Actually, they're from Alpha Centauri because it says it on the transporter scene. That's fine.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. Look at you being smart with your brain.
It's the closest star to the sun.
Yeah.
Oh.
But it has planets orbiting it.
But if they're from the sun, you can't be from a sun.
They're just from that. Are we really digging into this? Like, I don't think we should dig too deep
Because
into
you're
this,
a
guys.
sci-fi
Like, this is-
virgin. So if you're going to Earth, you're going to the Sol system because Sol is the name
Yeah.
of the sun.
Okay.
If you're going to the Alpha Centauri system, you're not naming the planets around it. You're naming the star which they
Okay.
orbit.
Welcome back to We Explain Space to Jen.
Yeah.
I know you've never been there.
I have not ever been to space and never care to, bitches.
Fuck you, NASA.
So it's getting fuzzy and they're getting headaches. But what he's saying is they're safe as long as they aren't discovered. And they have to keep us asleep and keep us selfish and keep us like fighting with each other. Yeah.
And we're also cutting to the priest guy, and he's like talking along with the transmission. And I thought that would come back at some point, but they never referenced that
He
again.
definitely just wrote the speech.
Oh, yeah. He's like the ghost writer.
Yeah.
He's like, I fucked up that line.
So now we find someone at the camp who is not Meatloaf.
But he looks a lot like Meatloaf. Yeah.
He's
He looks like current day Meatloaf gone back in time to the 80s.
That's true.
Not 80s Meatloaf.
You have not seen current day Meatloaf.
I did not see Meatloaf at all in that character. That's hilarious.
Oh,
though.
really?
The idea of the Meatloaf from the future time traveled back to the 1988 just to be in this movie.
Yeah, man. Okay, so not Meatloaf is talking to the preacher from the beginning and like shooing him back in. And so they're in cahoots. So then he confronts Meatloaf the next day about the preacher.
He said, You had to use the church at 4 a.m.?
Well, yeah, churches, I mean, God lives there all the time.
He lives everywhere all the time.
Does he?
All right, so back to the hacker. He's talking about dismantling the sleeping middle class and being bred for slavery, and the signal keeps going out. And so Roddy Piper is inside the church, and he's kind of church-vestigating. And he goes in, and he sees what basically looks like a meth lab. Like,
Yeah, it does.
Like
Yeah.
beakers and like the triangle beakers. And
I actually do sort of like this scene because they have like these big fuck off speakers set up that are playing like people singing church hymns and stuff to make it seem like it's a real church.
it's the perfect cover.
It is the perfect cover. A, it's a church. Why would you ever go in there? Secondly, if you're walking by and you're wondering what is going on in there, you hear church hymns and that makes sense.
Unless it's like a Tuesday, and you're like, why is there like church hymns at 10 a.m. on a Tuesday?
Or 4 a.m, Mikey.
You never know when the choir's going to practice, guys.
Yeah, you practice it off hours.
Yeah.
And then the good choir practices on Tuesday nights.
Fair enough.
I know,
fair
I
enough,
was always
fair
in
enough.
the good choir. So he sees the meth lab, and we are seeing in the next room that this is a fake, like, church.
Yes.
And that they are conspiring to, like, get this message out. And we see on the wall, it says that they live.
Yeah.
They wrote the name of the movie on
Right.
the wall. So
Again.
that's the important thing. Roddy Piper just, like, can't walk in this movie, so he bumps over.
He does trip over a lot of
This
shit
is where I
in this
really
movie. Yeah. And
relate
honestly,
to him.
I know, Mikey, I get why you love him so much. He is of the strong, silent type and very clumsy. And I feel like those are things that I would associate with you.
Yeah, and Mikey loves bubblegum, too.
And
so.
I do love bubblegum.
And asses.
And I'm all out of asses.
So he finds a secret compartment in a wall, but before he can investigate it, he gets jump scared by the preacher.
Yes.
Jid jumped.
I mean, it was scary. I didn't know it was coming.
And listen, when walking around a church, you don't want to have a preacher pop up behind you.
And this
No.
is before coronavirus because he's like, I've got to touch your face because I'm a blind preacher. And he gets all up in there.
That's true.
He was blind? I completely missed that.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was.
He felt his face and then touched
Didn't
his
you see
hand.
him?
I swear to God, I just thought he was a creepy preacher. I
They
had no
led him
idea.
across the road. They're like, now we're crossing the road.
I
Now
thought he
we're
was just
stepping up on
old.
the.
I had no idea
Did
he
you
was
miss
blind.
the scene where he sculpted the face of Roddy Piper?
Hello, is it Rowdy you're looking for?
Put my sunglasses on your face. Anyways,
Roddy retreats out of the church.
Yes, he does.
yes.
But he does overhear them talking about, sending out the shipment.
We need to reach more people. Blah,
Right,
blah, blah.
Right.
But they don't say sunglasses; they say shipment.
The details just not important.
Yeah, they're not at all.
As I told Todd and Jen Barrett, I said, we just got to have him put the glasses on and we can start the movie.
Yeah, I wrote down when you said that in the movie. We'll get there. So he goes outside, and I think there's a helicopter, and he cons.
Oh, yeah, there is.
He cons a homeless person out of giving away his binoculars, so he can just check out this church.
It's a homeless boy, and he was like, hey, I'm Roddy Piper. I need those binoculars. He's like, okay, sir.
But how will I
Yeah,
see?
yeah. They were real happy about it, too. He was
Yeah.
just like, yeah, sure, man. I look like MacGyver. For some reason, I thought that was Richard Dean Anderson, by the way.
Oh my God, he did look like a baby RDA. You're right.
Yeah.
Oh my
I
God.
had a crush on him back in the day.
And honestly, once Roddy Piper saves him, you never see him again because he had to run off to the Stargate to help fight these people from that side of it.
Exactly.
yeah.
Wait, wasn't Kurt Russell in the movie Stargate?
Yeah.
Holy
Oh,
shit!
yeah.
This thing
Get
goes
rid
all
of
the
it.
way
It
to
all
the top.
connects. It goes all the way to Carpenter.
It's all in the same universe.
Oh my God. The thing
Carpenter
they live,
connected universe.
Stargate, all in the same universe. I am here for that team up.
What about Halloween?
I personally think Michael is only trying to kill the aliens. And that's why he has to wear the mask, because the mask is where he sees the aliens.
I'm going to take your concept and say he is an alien, but also clinically insane, and they didn't know what to do with him. That's why he can't be killed,
That makes sense. Yeah.
And he just doesn't have his watch, so he can't disappear.
and he can't speak the local language.
He is
Oh
the
my God.
victim.
It makes too much sense
It
for
does,
it not
yeah.
to be true.
I mean, it makes about as much sense as this movie does.
Guys, if you believe this, I have a flat earth theory I want to talk to you about.
So Keith David.
Wait, hold. Yeah, Keith David comes over and Captain Morgan's behind.
So hard. Barry, did you see how high he got his leg on
He
that
kicked
thing
it up,
behind
man.
him?
He just wanted to show off, leg
Oh,
day.
yeah.
He was doing leg day and wanted to throw it up there.
Well, he's acting against a professional wrestler, so
Yeah.
he's got to show his muscles off.
Oh,
at
he
some
definitely
point.
does. He's
Yeah.
like, look at how flexible I am.
Right.
Look at this hip
Well, it's
thruster.
interesting because the first shot that we get of Keith David is of him admiring the work from afar of Roddy Piper. And he's like, because
my
he's got
God,
the shirt
you're right.
off. Because he was about to kind of like not raw dog it. What? Just kind of.
What is this, Roadhouse? Sorry.
I mean, we do get some spin moves.
That's true.
He was
That's true.
he was about to like take a break, and then he saw how hard Roddy Piper was working.
Yeah,
and he was
he was
like,
working
"God
hard.
damn, I need to get in on that." And so game respect game, obviously
Yeah.
for this
Yeah,
guy.
that's
I
what
mean,
it
he
is.
did invite him back to his place.
He did.
did.
Yeah.
See, wait, Roddy Piper, he posts up just across the street from the church with binoculars, not that far away, 30 yards maybe.
No, you could see it easily from where he's sitting, and then he puts the binoculars up.
And this scene's great because Keith David just Captain Morgan. He goes, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Nothing. It's none of your business." And then the scene ends.
Well, no, not before Keith David gives a speech that reverses everything he said in the previous speech. Like,
Oh,
you gotta
yeah.
look out for yourself. What are you doing here, man? That's a church. Leave that church alone.
It's not our business.
Yeah. Yeah. So, anyways, and then cut to night, and Roddy Piper is still
looking at the-
I know. So
Binoculars.
feasibly, he's been there with binoculars in open view looking at a church for 7 hours,
Right.
and no one has come and been like, hey, what are you doing?
And this is the next day.
well,
so
okay, in all fairness, the priest is blind, so
That's true.
no one noticed.
I wonder how he lost his last job. I mean, if this is the next day and he immediately just takes binoculars and stakes out a church instead of working.
Yeah, he
that's
worked
true.
on that construction site for one day, asked if he could sleep there and when they got paid, and then never showed up again. I think I know why Roddy Piper got fired from his last job.
Yeah. Well, and then the next time he shows up, he beats the shit out of one of the workers. But we'll get there. So then he is binocularizing, but then he looks up and there's a helicopter there.
Again, which
Yeah.
is great.
Right. So this our second helicopter.
There's a
sighting.
lot of helicopters in this movie.
And then-
Barrett, I'm a big fan of helicopters.
Oh yeah.
Oh well, this is for you. You know, obviously it's one helicopter that's just shown, multiple times. Now this is revealed. The helicopters are actually revealed to be the UFOs, right? Like once you actually put the glasses on. I know I'm skipping ahead a little
Are
bit.
they? Oh, we
I thought
missed-
they were little drones.
I thought
These
they were
are
little drones
smaller
too.
UFOs.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I mean that's
Those
the same
drones
It
thing.
might
were in
be.
addition to the helicopters.
But they're
I
not
see.
actual helicopters.
okay.
Is that what you're saying? Like when you put the
I
glasses
thought-
on?
Correct. I thought that they were actually UFOs.
I think you're right.
In disguise.
Yeah.
I think the one at the end was an actual helicopter.
Okay.
Because he's got the contacts in.
I got you.
I think they might have forgotten a little bit about the contacts thing in some of
They
the
got a little lazy
final
towards the
scenes.
end. Yeah.
Anyways,
No, he did. It's all canon.
so we got the helicopter, and the people from the church are fleeing with these boxes of sunglasses and just trying to get out. And then there's a riot. And we see people like walking down the street with their little
Wait,
riot
do you mean a
shields.
riot or do you mean do the cops attack
Yeah.
with a fucking bulldozer
There's a cop
and
riot.
start bulldozing people? One thing I love about the cops in this movie is that they throw flares wherever they are intending to go.
but behind them,
Yeah.
they're just like there's like one guy on the unit just lighting flares and throwing them above his head as they walk around.
He's the
It's
flamer on the
flare guy.
squad.
They fuck up this town,
They
man.
do.
Like it takes
Yes.
forever. It's not just like, oh, there's a bulldozer. Oh, there's total destruction. It takes like probably, I'm going to estimate like an hour and 45 minutes for this scene
Oh,
to
yeah.
play out
Fun
of them
fact.
bulldozing the fuck out of this city. It's like, okay, we get it.
But yeah, I mean it's mean. Like they're just bulldozering all these towns.
Yeah,
Little,
I think at this point it establishes the
jerks.
cops are evil and they're in on it.
And the way they do this, like 30 people probably died during that whole operation.
yeah.
Oh yeah. It bulldozes it like a van this lady is inside of when they start bulldozing it.
Yeah, and so
Which
they're
I'm laughing, but it's terrible, but it's funny.
but there's like the people wearing those like big riot shield things, and then a couple of extras like run up kind of
Like it's Red Rover?
style.
Yeah, absolutely.
and
It's
like,
ridiculous.
yeah. It is.
You don't play Red Rover with riot cops, dumbass.
I know, but it's like
Yeah,
two
you
or three
do.
of them.
Counterpoint, if they call you over, you have to go.
You do.
That's the rules of the game.
But I do love how this scene ends because it really is just Roddy Piper running over and then like tumble rolling over a hill.
Yeah.
Oh my
He
God.
falls a lot in this
He
film.
falls down hills a lot in this movie, yeah.
Yeah.
And this is the first time we see that. But even at this point, we stop seeing the bulldozer batshit destruction of Shantytown. But this is when he like finds the guy he stole the binoculars from. And yes, I'm saying stole because he never gave them back, Mikey. But he and then he finds him and saves him.
So he walks past the church and he sees like the people, like the preacher and one of the other like leaders of the resistance getting beat by the police.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. In the alley.
Yeah, and then and there's like graffiti that says irony right behind them. And
some of the graffiti in this movie is on point.
And so then he walks over to the next little police are going to beat you up area, and there is binoculars guy.
Yes.
I'm sorry, no more binoculars.
Baby
guy.
Richard Dean Anderson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
But he's like huddling, hiding, and so Rowdy Piper picks him up and drags him into the church or an apartment
And
or
hugs
something.
him for some reason
Well,
the
because
whole
he's
time.
scared.
Yeah. Richard Dean Anderson is nervous and scared.
But he's like 25.
He's still sad about his
trying to make it in
binoculars.
Hollywood.
He is sad about that. So they do find it in a room with a homeless other people, and then he's like go to that family, and then the man just hugs him instead of
Yeah, and if you recognize those people, they come back in later because
they
they're
do.
at the big resistance party. That's Bobo, Chevy Chase, and like his sister
Actually,
or wife
I think
or whatever.
She mentions that she has a headache, Dad. Like, hey, Dad, I've got a headache. And he
Oh,
goes, I
it could
do
be
too,
his daughter.
Susie.
Yeah.
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 But so they were in the shantytown to begin
Yes.
with. But there's a guy smoking a joint there that I don't know if we've seen before. So
It's the next day, and Roddy Piper goes to the ruins of the shantytown,
Yeah.
where Jen points out there's a family searching through burnt sweaters.
Oh yeah, while a commercial for sweaters is on.
Yes.
But this is when the plot starts picking up.
Oh, yeah, because he's about to find those sunglasses.
This is when Mikey said, and I quote, "Just find the fucking glasses and get this shit over with."
I know, and I turned to Mikey and I was like, you picked this movie.
No kidding, man. The first 30 minutes of this movie are interminable.
Yeah.
It's I know we're world building and everything, and we're building suspense and that kind of thing, but
Yeah.
man, I mean, get to the
good stuff.
sunglasses for
Right,
God's
thank you,
sakes.
Barrett.
Yeah.
So he goes back to the church, and then he straight up wrestling kicks into the wall to get these boxes out.
Which
Yeah.
he just nudged to get in last
Right.
time, but he kicks it as hard as he can, and that's when you know the action's going to ramp up.
Oh, yeah. I do just love that he's like, oh, yeah, I'm a wrestler. I should kick something. It's
Right.
ridiculous.
What else am I gonna do?
Oh, and awesome. When I say it's ridiculous, it's also fucking rad. I'm on board for it.
So he finds the box of glasses.
All right. So he's just grabbed this box out of the wall, and he goes into the alley and he opens, and it's just a bunch of shitty black sunglasses.
He tries to find like the treasure underneath the glasses, and he's like, "Oh, it's just glasses."
Right. Oh man. And so he like rage throws them away, and he's so mad that he.
No,
puts-
he's hiding them.
Oh, was he in the trash can? Mm-hmm. It's genius.
He's not genius.
Oh, by the way, all the trash in this movie is just cardboard and paper.
Yeah.
There's no
Like Chinese food?
banana skin peels or anything. Yeah, no Chinese
Yeah, like coffee
food,
grounds.
no detritus of any kind. It's just literally recycled material.
I mean-
They literally called
that are-
Dunder
that are-
Mifflin and said, we need 5,000
Yeah.
reams of paper. And then they took the big ass boxes those reams came in and ripped them up and then just threw the paper everywhere.
Right.
He takes the pair of sunglasses with him.
Yeah, because it might be sunny that day.
It might be.
And so he's walking down the street. So he puts the sunglasses on, and he notices that there's a billboard that used to say like billboard stuff. And now it says, it's all white, and in big black letters it says, obey. And he thinks, that's weird.
The
So he-
coolest part about these sunglasses is that the world is in black and white now.
Yeah, it's like Pleasantville.
It is a lot like, I was about to say, this movie is exactly like Pleasantville, Jen. You're right.
And then he sees another one with like a swimsuit model on it, and that one with the sunglasses on says marry and reproduce, and that's one that I particularly appreciated. And then he's putting them on and looking around, and he's seeing consume over all of the signs, and so there are like all of these messages on all of the products.
Subliminal
messages. Yeah. And then he walks up to a newspaper seller vendor place, and he's like looking through, and all of the pages are like this too, and he looks up and he sees a guy with an alien mask on,
Is it a mask, Jen?
They look like fly people without skin.
but their skin is kind of like melty too, you know,
Yeah,
Oh,
they were
look
sort of
ugly.
disgusting
Yeah.
looking.
They look like aliens.
but everything else about them looks the same.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I actually, I was surprised with how well these effects held up. Actually,
I was too.
They are a little bit campy.
Yes, they are
but
campy.
like I don't know. They were better than I remembered them being.
I mean, they fit in with the movie, I think. Okay, and so the guy like walks on, and then the guy who sells the newspaper comes up, and we notice what the money says, and the money says, "This is your God" on it.
I loved that.
Yeah.
That was my favorite part of the whole movie.
And then we see like a circulating like speaker, and it says sleep, sleep, sleep.
Yeah.
So he's walking around and he's starting to see that there are these aliens just kind of mixed into everyday life. And I'd say like maybe 1 out of
50?
3 people.
Whoa.
Wow.
Maybe let's split the difference. 1 out of 10.
Yeah, okay, let's
might
see 1
be
out
an
of 10.
alien. Yeah, because there's a lady and there's a rich, fancy lady who's like commanding her servants, and she's an alien person.
Yeah, absolutely.
But what we're seeing is it's not everybody, but they are like.
You might say it's like 1% of the people in the U.S. Yeah, are aliens.
It does seem to be a lot of the rich people.
It's
yeah.
only rich people. Did you miss the point of this movie?
Well, some are first responders.
Well, that's true.
That's fair.
So he goes into a grocery store.
But this grocery store only has them in there. I thought that was
It's
very
Harris
funny.
Teeter.
Yeah. Oh,
Because
is it?
it's a Whole Foods.
Yeah.
Old Whole Foods.
So she's seeing an old lady, and this was funny, the interaction between the two of them, because she's got her formaldehyde face, and he says, "You look like your head fell in cheese dip in the 70s." This lady looks normal.
And she's
then-
like, well, I never.
"Oh, I do declare."
Can I just say, I think my favorite line, aside from the bubblegum line, because obviously, but when he goes, "You lady, you look fine, but this lady, real fucking ugly." I think that is his best bit of acting in the entire movie.
Yeah, you could tell he really meant
crushes
it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I think the whole movie needed to be at that intensity, and it would have sold.
Yeah, you mean like a
yeah,
wrestling
absolutely.
show?
Yes. And everybody's like, why is he picking on this old lady? But she's an alien, but no one can see it.
Right. And I do like that
yeah.
right now, all he's doing is like, yelling at a lady who's an alien.
Right.
But 5 minutes from now, he has murdered 8 people.
I also like the scene because he's picking on her, and then he falls over it just falls over in the grocery store.
Yeah, because he's very clumsy, Mikey, just like you.
Yeah, he does knock over a bunch of flowers. But so she speaks into her wristwatch and says, "One of them can see us." And then I liked this. Like everybody in the grocery store, all the alien faces start to like come and like walk towards him.
One of us.
Yeah,
It was sort of like that sort of moment.
Yeah.
And I like how he's talking out loud. He's like, I don't like this at all.
He does narrate a lot of his thought process.
It's almost like he's not a great actor.
Now he ends up back in an alley.
This is when the cops come up to him.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
fortunately for him, they're alien cops, so he has full right to kill them.
Yeah,
That's
they
right.
come up, they like draw their guns, or they like pretend to. They like they have their hand on their hip. They're like, "Hey man, we can work this out.
Yeah.
This could work well for you.
Yeah, you could make a lot of
forget
money
about
off of
the-
this.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you know the truth.
Right.
They don't really say those things, but they're implying those things.
Yeah, and they're like, we don't want to hurt you, blah, 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 blah. And then Roddy Piper's like, oh, yeah, come closer. It'll be great. Then he hits him in the face and then shoots them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, no, he shoots one of them and he says, so you can die just like we do. And then the other one jumps up behind him and tries to hit him, but Roddy Piper's a wrestler, so he knocks him over and then shoots him.
So he murdered 2 cops, but they were aliens, so it's okay.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine that he murdered cops.
And then at this point, he's just all in for violent rebellion because he goes to the cop car, steals a shotgun and ammunition.
And both the nightsticks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he just slings him over his shoulder and then
Yeah.
walks into a bank.
He straps up, man.
Did you guys get the impression that he did not mean to walk into the bank? Like that seemed
Yeah.
like it was almost an accident to me. Because he does not rob the bank.
No,
he
he
just
doesn't.
goes there to, and I'll use his words, chew bubble gum and kick ass.
Yeah.
And I do believe he's out of some gum. Would you believe that he ad-libbed that line?
I wouldn't.
I probably would. It's not a great line. It's hilarious.
I've got fun facts about that line.
What?
You want to know?
Barrett wants it now.
Okay, so because Roddy Piper, I don't know if you guys know this, but he is a professional wrestler.
Huh,
And-
really?
Yeah, and they say a lot of cheesy bullshit on those shows. He kept a little notebook where he would write down those lines, and he gave it to John Carpenter when he was writing the script, and John Carpenter said this was the best one, and he picked it out. So he was going to be, I mean, he could have been like, hey, Undertaker, I came here to chew bubble gum and smash chairs and kick your ass, and I'm all out of bubble gum. Like,
I
can't you see
honestly,
that?
I really want to see what's in that notebook. Like, what are the lines
know,
that
that got
didn't make
rejected.
it? Yeah. Because that line, it's hilarious and awesome, but
Yeah.
it's not a great line. I want to see the ones that didn't make the cut.
They've probably been used. He's continued to wrestle.
Well, that's true. There are some lines in this movie that, I mean, I wrote some of them down.
So, but he does proceed to kick ass in this scene.
And by kick ass, mow down a bunch of people in a bank.
Yeah.
Dude, there was one shot where he shot a guy with that shotgun and like the blood goes back on the wall. It's pretty fucking brutal. It's
He
awesome.
only kills the
Yeah.
aliens, people.
Yes, he does not. I don't
That's
think, and
true.
correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think it killed any humans in this movie. I think
No
it's
humans were
only
harmed
aliens
during the making of this
because
movie.
the one human he was gonna kill at the end, like teleported away.
He killed Holly Thompson.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
fair.
no, he killed-
Sorry.
he
She
killed his
deserved
girlfriend.
He kills all of these aliens in the bank, and then cops start coming to the front door or whatever, and then he sneaks out the side door.
You're
Yeah.
forgetting that he tries to kill one, but it vanishes.
Oh,
Yes, this is when we
Yeah.
first see a teleportation.
A teleportation.
Okay, so he's out in the alley.
Yeah, because after robbing a bank, he just sneaks into the alley and no one can
Right.
find him.
Now he does see another cop who just walks right up to him, but it's not an alien cop, so he lets him
Right,
go.
he lets him go.
Yeah, he's like,
Right.
drop it, Cabo.
Yeah, because he's still got a heart of gold.
Can I say another one of my favorite lines is beat your feet.
Oh, I got another. Okay, so because when he's
Nice.
talking into the watch, he sees one of them and he says, "Mama don't like tattletales."
Oh, yeah.
That was my
yeah.
favorite.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my God.
So now we're seeing a woman walking to the car who we find out is going to be the love interest. And by love
Holly
interest,
Thompson?
I mean
Holly Thompson.
Yes.
and by love interest, I mean lady who has more than 2 consecutive lines in this movie.
I'm pretty sure this movie does not pass the Bechdel test.
Oh no, it does not. It actually stomps on the Bechdel test.
Well, there's really only one female character in it.
There's old lady job shamer from the beginning.
Okay, that's fair. And then there's the homeless guy's daughter, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to defend Mikey movies for a second.
Good luck.
They're like pre-puberty movies.
You mean for you?
Where like they don't really objectify women. There's that scene at the end, but I mean like they just don't exist. It's like the mind of an 11-year-old boy. It's
Yeah.
like guns,
That's very
aliens
true.
fighting.
Yes.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not like it doesn't really bother me that much that there really aren't any women, but because they're really not that objectified,
Right.
You know, it doesn't really bother me. It's just, it is notable.
I would dare say Holly Thompson's pretty empowering.
I do like her character. She's probably my favorite until the very end when she does something.
Yeah, I mean, I was on
terrible.
board for her until the very, very end.
All right, look, if we're talking about Meg Foster's appearance, I got to say something here.
Okay.
Because I know it's the 80s and everything, but does nobody have any Visine on that set?
True.
this,
Yes.
this poor woman, I mean, she looks like she hasn't slept in like 6 days.
She's
Yeah, when you're on that much cocaine.
So basically, Roddy Piper stalks a woman getting into her car,
Yep.
pulls out a gun, and is like, "Hey."
Take me to your place.
Are you married?
My
Yeah.
favorite part of this scene is like they pull out of the parking garage and there's 2 cop cars speed by and then 30 cops jogging.
Yes. I said that they were the cardio squad, and then Jen said
They're the cross country police.
they're the
squad.
cross-country cops is what you said,
Cross
Jen.
country
Cross-country
cops.
It was
cops.
awesome. Yeah, absolutely.
That's the spinoff
Gotta
of
keep in
Reno
shape,
911.
man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I get it.
Every once in a while, they have to stop and shit because, you know, running for long periods of time.
I'm sorry, Jen. What does it do to
You guys
you?
never not know anybody who was on the cross country team? Anyway, so the perils of cross country cops aside, they're driving and they're in the car, and he keeps like almost falling asleep, and then like being mean to her. You
Well,
know?
it's exhausting killing 30 aliens.
Yeah.
That's true.
He's had a busy day, Jen.
And sunglasses. You know,
She's like, "Where do you want to go?" And he's like, "Are you married?"
it is the most awkward conversation ever.
He's not good with women.
No, and they have zero chemistry.
Mikey, you're a lot like this guy. Yeah.
So they get back to her
Wait, but
house.
Roddy Piper is married.
He never hits on anybody in this movie.
Well, I mean, he
He's
does
hitting on
take a
Holly
woman
right
back to
now.
her
No, he
house.
doesn't. He just wants to go back to her house to be safe because he has to run away.
That's what they all say.
He never
Yeah.
flirts with her at all.
He doesn't have to flirt. He's got her hostage.
That's right. He's
Well, no,
in
because
control.
okay, stop.
I just want to put this out there. Mikey is about to defend someone who took a woman hostage and is now taking her back to her house alone.
If I had to kill 30 alien invaders and I'm running from the police who are controlled by the aliens, and I
Right.
tell a woman to take me back to her house just to hide.
This is
Right.
about how it would play out.
This is about how it would play out.
Okay.
And then they get to their house, and then she's like, "You can do whatever you want to me."
Yeah.
And he's like,
Did she say that?
Yes,
Yeah.
she does. But she's a hostage. She says you
true.
can do whatever you want to me,
'Cause you
just
have
don't hurt
guns.
me.
Yeah.
Right.
And
And
he's like,
Because she's terrified for her life,
Yes,
Mikey.
and I do appreciate that she keeps reminding him, no, we're not friends. You're not crashing in my
Yeah.
place. Like, you are in charge. You're because you've got 2 guns.
Yeah,
I
you're not
did
couch
appreciate
surfing.
that.
I also appreciate that all went over his head. And he's like not aware of how creepy the situation is. He's like, "So your name's Holly? Like, what do you do for a living?"
Right, exactly. And we find out that she works for the news station.
Yeah.
Channel 56 cable or whatever, which
Yeah, yeah.
happens to be the alien station.
But he never says she's pretty. I mean, he never like makes any weird comments. He's just like, "I just need to rest. It's really tiring killing people."
Well, that's true.
And he never like tries to do anything inappropriate.
Yeah.
But honestly, she spin moves, throws him out the window immediately. So it may just not have escalated to that, Mikey.
Well, and before that, he comes and just lays on her floor because apparently the sunglasses are like drugs.
Yes.
Also, he's had an adrenaline rush from murdering people at a bank.
That's true. Okay, so Holly.
She's like, can I have a drink?
Yeah, she says, I'm not scared. I'm thirsty. So she comes and gets a drink, and it switches to an overhead shot. And this is my favorite part of the movie.
This is awesome. I
really
lost my shit when this happened.
You have a nice view outside.
And he goes up to look, and we see this overhead, and she spin moves, smashes the glass into his head, and then kicks him through her window down the hill that they filmed Princess Bride on.
Yeah.
He falls a long way. But he like dusts himself off, and he was like, man, game, respect, game.
Yeah, game, respect, game. I do love that the next time they see each other, he's like, ha, you got me.
Yeah, right.
No. She's like, are you okay? I thought I killed you. And he's like, me too.
Yeah, but he's like cool with it.
Oh, all right. So he has fallen. And we also noticed that the glasses are still in her apartment.
Yes.
Amidst the broken glass. And we also see her call with zero emphasis on any word, call and robotically report that she has been kidnapped.
Yes, officer, I have been kidnapped.
But I thought she was talking to the cops, but
Yeah,
I don't think she was, knowing
wasn't.
that she's a traitor.
Right.
But
yeah, she's working for the other side.
Yeah, she's a turncoat, Mikey. Mm-hmm. She's a real Benedict Arnold.
And he stumbles onto an overpass.
Oh, and he sleeps under it. Really sad.
Yeah, and this is when he realizes that he's married.
He hugs himself.
Yeah.
He does, showing off his
I'm so
ring.
lonely. And he's like so holding himself and cold, and then he wakes up and then walks across the overpass.
This is when the movie gets going. Is when he finds the glasses and starts killing people at the bank. Then it's a roller coaster till the end.
Well,
it's interesting to me because when he finds the glasses and then has that newsstand scene, it gets real quick pace. He starts murdering people, and then it slows the pace way down right here.
Right.
Well, he has a look for the rest of the glasses.
Yeah, exactly.
true.
But the whole going to find the other glasses out of the trash where he put them is a comedy of errors.
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he shows up at the construction site and he's talking to Keith David and he's saying, I got to show you something.
Oh my God. And Keith David does treat him like a dog here.
Yeah.
He's like, you better get.
Yeah.
You better get out of here, dog.
Boy.
You murdered cops. Get out of here.
Get out of here. I got a wife and kids. Get.
Yeah. And so he's got to go. And his face is on the news now, too.
Yeah.
But his short hair face. They don't have the mullet, which is, I guess, why they can't find him.
Yeah, it's perfect disguise.
I know. If only.
Oh, is that him? No, he's got a party going on in the back. That can't be him.
Yeah. We're not looking for that kind of man. Okay, so he goes into the alley and he's looking in his genius hiding place, the garbage can.
He's not a smart man.
He's not even a smart dog, Mikey.
No, I think my dog would have done this all better.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay, so he's looking through the trash can and he notices, uh-oh, it's garbage day. Because now there's a big garbage truck in the alley. And so his idea is to jump in the back of this garbage truck and start looking through all the garbage, which, Barrett, as you pointed out, is actually the cleanest garbage in the world.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Luckily
man.
for him.
And this is the worst garbage man in the world because he opens the whole thing up and then accidentally dumps it all out, and the driver just doesn't care.
He probably saw it. He was like, oh, fuck, I'm not cleaning that up. I'm out.
Yeah.
The aliens can fire me.
Right, and I thought there was going to be some kind of like
Crush mechanism?
Yeah, crush. Like I was picturing the scene from Star Wars, and then when the garbage truck started, I thought it was going to be like Peril when he hit the cement or something, but he just kind of slowly slides out.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
I know. It actually looks kind of fun.
It does. It sort of looks like he's in like a ball pit, and then someone's dumping the balls out, and he just like slowly falls into them.
With like glasses intermersed throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, because glasses in the box are spilling everywhere.
Yeah, it's like what happens, like what you always want to do with your shredder. You know, you shred a bunch of paper and you just want to like throw it above your head.
Like leaves when you were a kid, you would rake them into a thing and jump into them. He's doing that, but with the cleanest trash in the world.
They had to cut out when he said, wee, all the way down.
The funny part about that scene is he's trying to get like this box full of glasses, but if you actually see the glasses that are in the box, there's like 2 pairs.
Right.
It's because I spilt everywhere.
I know, and you can see them as they're tipping the trash out of the truck, and he's driving away. You see like 3 pairs trickle out at the end. It's hilarious.
And because he kept running and jumping back into the pile because it was so much fun, he's
Because he's a dog, and they love doing that shit.
I do like the recasting.
Come
of
on,
this
Roddy,
as
come
Golden
on.
Retriever.
Honestly, I'm going to pitch something right now.
Uh-oh.
This movie, but done with the Homeward Bound
Yes!
animals.
Nice.
Same actors as the Homeward Bound. I think it works.
And they put the glasses on and other animals look human.
Think about it. The two dogs in Homeward Bound are Keith David and Rowdy Roddy Piper, and the cat is Holly Thompson.
Okay, and then they put the glass. They look at billboards and it's like sit, stay.
Oh, nice.
Or like some of them are
I
just
love
dog
this
treats.
idea.
Well, if
Well,
you read,
guys, we figured it out.
if you read the book, that's actually the sequel.
Yes, absolutely. Oh
right.
my God, this is great. I love this.
So he finds his glasses, and then Keith David is there again. And
He comes to give him money.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, he tossed
Yeah.
money in the empty
the
box of glass.
glasses
He's
box?
like, look, man, I shouldn't even be helping you, but you're a good dude. But
Yeah.
you murdered all those people, but here's some money. Don't just stay away from me.
Yeah, to stay hidden for a bunch of days.
Right,
Yeah.
but not so fast because Roddy Piper needs somebody on his team.
No, Roddy Piper goes, you need to put these glasses on. And then he's like, if you don't put these glasses on, you're going to eat that trash can.
Not this year. I love that response because it is very much like hey, we might get to the point where I have to eat a trash can, but right now I'm doing all right. I don't think I'm going to need to this year.
Yeah, slow it down.
Yeah.
You're moving too fast.
Yeah,
I mean, it is a Mikey movie.
that is
right?
fair.
It's too much commitment.
These are movies I actually wrote in elementary school.
But I do love that instead of putting the glasses on and placating who you would probably think is a crazy person, he's just like, fuck you, I'm going to fight you to the death right now,
Right.
just so I don't have to put on Ray-Bans.
So I believe this is like the longest fist fight in like film history.
It's up there. But I don't know if it actually broke record.
It feels longer than the car chase scene in the movie Ronin. It's an amazing car
South Park
chase scene.
redid this scene on an episode between Timmy and Jimmy. I was like, oh, they're doing the fight scene from They Live when I was like in high school.
Well, it reminds me of the fight scene between Peter and the chicken on Family Guy.
Yes.
Oh my
Yes.
God,
And
yeah.
that actually might break this record. I think it actually kicked him out of
And
it.
apparently it's supposed to, and Jen, you may have this in your fact checking or whatever, but they were supposed to originally just go at it for a little while, but then Roddy Piper and Keith David decided to choreograph this huge thing.
Yeah.
That's like a fight in 5
my
acts
God.
or something like
It
that.
is.
It
Like they
makes
have to fall
complete
down,
sense.
reset, then beat each other's ass again.
I know.
It makes complete
It
sense
goes on
that the
forever.
two actors in this scene choreographed this scene.
Because it's so slow paced.
It's also
is.
realistic. Like they get
is.
damaged.
I will say it is realistic. I think my favorite part of this scene is when Roddy Piper breaks the back window. What I think is supposed to be Keith David's car, and he's like, what? And then Roddy Piper starts laughing.
No, he drops the thing. He goes, I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, but then
And
he starts laughing.
No, he laughs because Keith David breaks the bottle to try to use it
Oh,
as a
yeah, and
weapon,
it
and the
didn't-
whole thing shatters. And then that's what he laughs at.
I know, and it
Right.
seems like that just happened, and they kept that shot. Like they did not intend for that to happen.
Absolutely.
Well, there's a
100%.
There's a part where he's faking that he's about to stomp the glasses, and then he knees Roddy Piper in the face.
How about the 30 seconds where Keith David is literally just kneeing Roddy Piper in the nuts?
I think Keith David tries to dick
Yes.
punch him at one point. He says, "You dirty motherfucker."
It's like
Why does it happen this way?
The funny thing about this is it seems like they shot this over the course of 40 minutes, and all they cut out was them saying, all right, what do you want to do next?
Right. Hey, show me
What
that
do you want to do
wrestling
next?
move.
Yeah.
Because there's like a suplex.
There's
and
a DDT.
Yeah. the people's elbow does not make an appearance.
No, that was,
but
listen, The
that's for
Rock
the
was not
remake.
around it
He
yet.
bashes Keith David's head into the concrete, and it's like
Dude.
bloody in the back, and it looks terrible.
It
I mean,
really
like, it looks
does.
great, but like painful.
Yeah.
Kind of disturbed me a little.
But it's like a 6-minute fight scene.
it is.
insane.
I think it's like 5 minutes and 40 something seconds.
Oh my God. When Keith David feels like he won and walks away, and then he's just like, and then you see Roddy Piper slowly walk up behind him. Like we see like 4 steps of him walking towards him, and then they start fighting again. That shit was hilarious.
Yes,
it was
like,
amazing.
It's like one of the scenes in Avengers where they like, destroy an entire city for 5 minutes, except this exists only in the alley, and it's just the two of them.
This is the most realistic fight scene to ever happen, except for the fight scene in Bridget Jones' Diary.
Oh yeah, I love that.
Anyway, he eventually puts the sunglasses on him.
Oh yeah, because he
passes out.
Yeah, he knocks Keith David out, and then he like just forces them onto his face. You know what's really funny is when he picks Keith David up to show him like outside of the alley, they start to fall off Keith David's face, and then you see Keith David sort of like hold them on his face. It's so funny.
Oh, he's a pro, man.
Oh yeah, Keith David is the only
Well,
actor.
the first
in this
thing he
movie.
sees is a UFO.
Yeah.
Right, whatever that surveillance drone thing is.
Yeah, and so now he realizes that whole fight was for nothing, and now they can't do anything about it because they have to go to the hospital.
But then they don't go to the hospital.
They go to a hostel and lay low together alone for like a week.
Slowly walking comedically, and they walk.
When they walk up to the clerk and ring the bell, and they're both just bloodied and beaten.
And Keith David looks legit pissed at the hostel like manager. He's like, "We need a room."
Right.
Well, calm down, Keith.
But hold on, we have to stop and say the line, because once he sees and he understands what's going on, he says, "Brother, life's a bitch, and she's back in heat."
Wow.
And then he puts
Just
the
classic.
sunglasses on and says, "Yeah!" And everything blows up in the background. CSI
I think you're
Miami
confusing
style.
this.
Okay.
Yeah, welcome back to CSI They Live.
But I mean, that's the kind of thing they would say in CSI Miami.
Yeah.
So they go to this gross hostel and they're cleaning up. And Keith David's asking him what the fuck is going on. He's like, "Well, they ain't from Cleveland."
Oh my
He's
God.
like, I don't need this right now. Do not make jokes. There's like aliens. Like, you got to explain it to me for real.
My head really hurts too.
But Keith David immediately establishes himself as the smart one.
Yeah.
He is
Because he's like,
definitely
well,
the
why don't we
brain.
just find the people who made the glasses and then
Right.
see what their plan is? Because
Yeah.
Rowdy Roddy Piper has no plan.
The conversation was, don't you have a plan? He's like, no. Well, why don't we find the people who made the glasses? All right.
Okay.
Well, and so now we get his nighttime story about his daddy and why he ran away.
Oh,
he was,
yeah.
like,
Jan,
saved-
tell us all about it.
Oh man, he was saved in a river, and he ran away when he was 13 because his daddy cut him with a razor blade and held it. And meanwhile, we're watching this in a close up of him. So
Yeah.
we can see his neck, and he's talking about him cutting him with a razor blade on his
Like a
neck.
saw.
Like a saw going back and forth
Yeah.
with the lack of scar staring us in the face. So now he could have just been threatening, but it's just bizarre. And it reminded me a little bit of the scene in Gremlins where she's talking about her dad falling down the chimney.
Oh, yeah.
Completely out of the blue.
Nice.
And it does not impact the story.
It cuts
in
to Keith
any
David
way.
and he's not paying attention to it at all. So it has to cut to Mogwai giving the reaction shot.
No, the other dog from home were bound. It's not dead. Like, oh,
Absolutely.
The best part of this scene is like Keith David pretty much doesn't react. He's like, well, we're going to kill some aliens. And he's like, yeah, we are, because I ain't daddy's little boy no more. And I'm like, oh, this is weird.
Yeah.
oh my gosh. Yeah. So now Meatloaf is back in the picture.
Not Meatloaf.
Did he find them in the hotel? Yeah, they randomly ran into each other at the hotel.
Yeah. So Keith David goes out to get supplies. I don't know if you saw them, but they were potato laid chips
And beer.
And bubble
and beer.
gum.
Yeah, and bubble gum.
You don't want him to run out of bubble gum.
You've got to keep that guy flush
No,
with the gum.
His blood sugar drops, man. Like he starts.
Right.
That's what it is. He's just a severe diabetic, and when he doesn't get enough blood sugar, he sees aliens. Anyway, so as Keith David is coming back with blood sugar supplies, Bobo Meatloaf sees him and he follows him in.
Right. And he says, "We're having a meeting tonight and the world needs a wake-up call and we're going to phone it in." It's so much fun saying the lines of this movie.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so, and this is the one time where phoning it in is badass.
Yeah, where you want to actually phone it in.
So they're back on the street, Roddy and KD, and they got their sunglasses at night because they are badass.
Yeah, because they're Corey Hart fans.
Yeah, because
Exactly.
Meatloaf invited him to the big meeting.
Yeah. And so they get to the safe house.
Oh man, this thing escalates so quickly. All right,
really
we'll get
does.
there. We'll get there. So
Because-
they walk in,
Yeah.
and they're hearing people like, "Hey, we don't have enough people here. You guys aren't recruiting enough." And they're seeing
Yeah.
like this table full of guns.
And the biggest plot development, they have contact lenses.
Oh yes, that's
oh,
right.
yeah.
And they look at these contact lenses like I would probably look at contact lenses if somebody told me to put them on, because that's terrifying.
I don't know how to put contact lenses
I don't
on.
either.
What you do is you put them in your eye.
Last year, someone had to teach me how to do eye drops because I was like, I've never had to put eye drops
they're
in
I
my
have trouble
hard.
with it too.
Someone was watching me and they're like, you have no idea what you're doing. And I was like,
That happens a lot to you, doesn't it?
yeah, they're just like shit all over my eyes. They're like, how do you get the eye drops in?
You just spray it all over your face
Yeah.
and someone get you.
You are Rowdy Roddy Piper. You have no idea how eye drops work. Oh my God.
It's funny about this, by the way, because apparently the glasses are like a drug, right?
Yeah.
And it
Right.
gets
Yes.
you gives you headaches and stuff like that. But you can wear these contact lenses for like in perpetuity, and apparently no effects whatsoever.
Barrett, she says a line that says these are a refined version that it doesn't have as much interference.
Oh, good catch.
So when you guys say that the sunglasses are like a drug, to me, I didn't think it was the sunglasses that caused that. I thought it was the murderous rage he had been in for 45 minutes killing people.
It's because it's blood sugar.
Yeah, that's what it is. Okay, so it was just his blood sugar. That was the problem.
But the contacts don't have the interference with the headaches coming down and up.
They directly give you insulin through
They're sugar-based contacts.
You can wear them all the time.
They're delicious.
It's like an insulin pump.
Exactly.
Nice.
Meatloaf's saying, we need an assault squad. He's like,
Done and done, brother.
Yeah, but he's saying, like, go about, mind your business, like, get more people in. And then we hear the old guy who was proclaiming the message from the beginning, and he's talking about Earth being acclimatized, and our atmosphere is becoming their atmosphere, and they are going to take over our planet, and they are viewing us as livestock.
Right.
And so that's the
global
ultimate plan.
warming.
And we also find out that they're trying to like reverse engineer one of the watches, and then it's a teleportation device or a transporter of some sort. And then this is when they all sort of congregate around not Meatloaf, and he started talking to them about we need to recruit more. This is not nearly enough people.
Yeah.
My favorite part of this scene is the one-upping between one of the Resistance guys and Roddy Piper. He's like, have you guys ever seen one of them teleport? And he's like, I have.
Yeah.
Right.
I have.
Yeah, but we've been working on it. There's the watches right there. Yeah, Roddy.
He just like really wanted a club to be a part of. He was like super into this.
Yeah. Honestly, Roddy Piper, when he came from Denver, was either going to join this or Scientology.
I mean, they do go clear.
I know. Oh, my God.
It's basically one side or the other.
Yeah. And the war is coming. Though.
Exactly. But anyway, so he sees Holly Thompson,
because we find out that the signal is clean, and we hear a voice that we recognize from earlier in the movie. And turns out Holly is there, and she's part of the Resistance.
Yes.
So
I
we
love
think.
this scene.
And so they
Are you
awkwardly
okay?
walk up to each other.
I thought I killed you. Me too. I'm okay.
And then the wall explodes right next to him.
I lost my mind when that happened. But it escalates so quickly. It goes from like, so how you doing, man? I'm like, oh, I'm all right. I thought I killed you. Yeah, I thought you killed me too. Boom! And then literally Uzis going off everywhere.
Yeah, and they're getting invaded by the police. And you can tell because of the flare gun.
Yeah, there's red flares everywhere.
Right.
But they're shooting to kill this time.
That's
Oh,
true.
yeah. Except for Holly Thompson. She gets away.
She gets away.
She is the only one that gets away. And if you see her when she leaves the house that they're in or whatever, she's the only one that does not look scared when she leaves. And I thought, I was like, man, she's not a great actress. But no, she's in on it.
She threw that family in front of her to get shot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck. She's a bad person.
She is. But a bunch of the people in the Resistance get killed, including Meatloaf. And I thought that Meatloaf was the one that had sold them out.
You did, but it was Holly.
It was.
Yeah.
Well, and also other guy that we're going to meet in a minute.
Yes.
Poor Z now Richardson. So now they're pinned down in the alley. And
Yeah,
the
they're
police,
fighting through the alley, shooting people.
And not Roddy Piper, like one-hand machine guns through some guy on the roof.
Yes.
It's insane.
And then shoots him 30 times on the way down. Oh, it's so good.
He does like a Ben Stiller in Tropic Thunder where he goes out and like kneels down and like, shoots one-handed with both of the machine guns.
Okay, so they're in the alley, and they both do the cheesy looking around the corner to see the threat thing, but they've got to watch. And so this is how they're going to. And I say Roddy Piper and Keith David.
Yeah, and Keith
best
David's
friends
the
for
one.
life.
He's sort of best friends for life. So Keith David's sort of fucking with this watch, and then it starts to beep, and he throws it over his shoulder, and then it sort of not explodes, but like emits a really white light.
Yeah.
And Keith David is like, "Hey, they're coming, and they're trapped in the alley. Like there's no way out.
Yeah.
But they look back at where the watch was, and they see it's now just a big hole.
Right.
And then Roddy Piper's like, "Hey, go down the hole."
And if the hole's counting down, 8 seconds.
Yeah.
6
this
seconds.
hole will self-destruct.
Yeah.
Yes, they will.
Oh, geez. Oh, Barrett. Okay, so now they're in an underground tunnel because that's where this hole has taken them.
Yeah, that's where everything leads,
Yeah.
Jen, into those tight
The
tunnels.
holes go into the tunnel. Know what I'm saying? That's how babies are
I'm
made.
going to kick both of you through this window and down the hill in a minute.
I think it's interesting you think she kicked him through the window.
She didn't. She just punched him.
So they're walking this hallway, and they hear like a voiceover say the signs are bilingual. So they're like in English and then the alien
Which
language
is a lie
too.
because we look at a sign, it's just an alien.
Well, Well, it's not all the signs. It's just some of them. And some of them do have English under them.
You have to wear the glasses to be able to see all of the languages.
But they eventually like walk past some security guards.
Yeah.
And then they eventually like walk into this ballroom.
They hear applause. Yeah.
Yes.
And we're into a fancy dinner party. And some guy is giving a speech. And the speech is that in the year 2025, and I will note it is 2020 right now.
Yeah,
so
we're
we gotta
literally
get
5 years
stepping.
away from this, guys.
We got to find the guys that made those glasses, guys.
Yeah.
All right. So the planet will be under totally control. The planet will be under the control of the human power elite. And so they just are like sauntering into this meeting like it's nothing.
Well, I think everyone there assumes that they're supposed to be there because they got into this
Right.
secret layer place.
But everybody's in super fancy tuxes except for Keith David and Roddy Piper.
Right.
Yeah. Dude is wearing like a trash stained flannel.
Right.
And like super tight jeans.
Yeah, I mean, at least they're not bleeding anymore. So
That's true,
They
yeah.
have healed. But they're talking about how like they've increased all of their capital and that the resistance has been squashed. And so then we see guy from the shantytown come up behind them, but now he's wearing a tuxedo and he's all rich and a jerk now. And he's saying, you guys should have dressed for this occasion now that you can afford it. So we know that he has sold out.
Yes.
And he's the one that sold out the
Resistance.
The resistance, yeah.
And I like how he just assumes that Roddy Piper and Keith David did too. He's like, oh, I didn't know you were one of us.
Yeah,
Exactly.
nice to see you guys.
Right. Yeah. Hey, let me show you around. So they're walking around and he thinks they've been recruited. And so we get to see the spaceship teleportation thing. So apparently it works like one big airport. And what I love about this is this guy is like, I don't know how it works. It just sends you places.
Which is
you know?
perfect. Like,
Right. I
This
don't
is
need
one
to
thing
hear
that I
it.
think this movie did very well. They didn't dig deep into how things work.
Right.
Because it doesn't matter. It sort of reminded me of that scene in Looper where Bruce Willis is like, don't fucking worry about how it works.
Right. And so now he's showing them into a control room. And it's like a TV studio. So Roddy wants to go inside because he's never seen a TV show before.
So I didn't know until the very end of the movie. The first time I saw this movie, because I was like, what? So if they destroy the transmitter, it just makes it where the TV doesn't control you. But what it also does is their camouflage works from
Right.
this transmitter. So when
Right.
you destroy the
Right.
transmitter, the aliens don't look human anymore.
Exactly.
Right,
Like
yeah.
even the ones in public.
Which you don't find out until the very you're
No.
like,
Right.
why are they wanting to do this?
Because they want to take over the planet.
No, like why do they want to destroy the transmitter? I'm like, I don't
Oh.
understand.
Honestly, Roddy Ray Piper's just doing whatever the people who made the glasses tells him because
Exactly.
he's a good boy.
He heard he got a treat at the end. So he's
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so somebody asked for their authorization cards, and he says, "Here's my authorization card," and they just shoot him.
Oh yeah, and up to this point, the former Slumtown millionaire guy does not have any idea that they're trying to blow anything up. So he's like, "Oh shit!"
Right.
And like ducks out of the way, and then quickly like,
He uses his watch and disappears.
"Oh wait, no!"
But not
yeah.
before Roddy Piper grabs him by the goatee
Oh yeah.
and pulls
He gets
him
goatee
over.
dragged
Yeah.
into the control room.
Says you can't do anything. They're running the whole show. If they leave, they'll leave us alone. If we just help him, like while his hairs are being.
Don't you want to live the good life?
Yeah, we all do. We sell out every day. We might as well be on the winning team, which I think is kind of a thesis statement for the movie.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
sure.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that when John Carpenter was talking to Roddy Piper about this, he used words like thesis statement.
I do wonder if the dialogue Roddy Piper had was more detailed, and they just slowly
just
started
changed
cutting
it.
Oh,
it
I'm
down.
100% sure it was all ad-libbed.
All right. So now they're inside the studio and they throw a grenade at a door or
Because
something.
it was locked, Jen.
It was locked
How
door.
else do you open a locked door?
You got to throw a grenade next to it.
Right. Okay, so they're in another room and now they're just wandering around.
They kill a bunch of people. Like they kill the anchors,
They're
don't
kill-
they?
they're
Like,
killing the
they
aliens
kill
as they see
all
them.
the aliens
Yes.
in that room.
And they're letting other people go. And the lady who tells them where the roof is, she gets a pat on the wrist and she gets to go.
She's
on
also
her way.
pregnant, holding coffee.
Well, this is not the same lady, but yeah, there is a
sorry.
pregnant lady.
That's the one he asked where Holly is.
Oh, that's
Right.
right.
Then later
That's
on, he's like, "Where's the transmitter? Is it on the roof? Where's the roof? How do you get to the roof?"
She's like, here it is. It's
She's
that
like,
way.
"It's the elevator on the left." And he's like, "Pat, thank you."
So they're asking where Holly is, and they go through a series of offices and a series of hallways with pink walls and just shooting people right and left. And then we see Holly, and Mikey actually yelled this at the same time when he says, "Holly!" And she's just standing at the end of the hall, and she's like, "Oh, this again."
Oh, it's these guys. I guess I'll go with them.
Because he's a dog. His tail starts wagging and he just runs there.
I do like the golden retriever cut of this movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
I hope that deep fake technology gets far enough along that we can replace Roddy Piper and Keith David with the two dogs from Homeward Bound and then Holly with the cat. This is the best. So they go towards the roof. Like they fight some
There's
people in the stairwells.
Stuff,
It's nothing
the alarms
really important.
go off.
Right. But right before they get to the roof, this is when you see Betrayer.
Yes, because Roddy Piper jumps or gets onto the roof.
Yeah.
And leaves Holly and Keith David behind. And Holly fucking shoots Keith David in the head. And we don't actually see it.
Yeah.
We don't see it, saving him to possibly be alive in the sequel.
That would be amazing.
I would watch it, man. I love it.
They live again.
Yep.
They do. Yeah.
Oh my God, I'd love a They Live
Oh my
Again
God,
movie.
yes.
John Carpenter, make that happen.
All right.
So Roddy Piper's on the roof, and it's like, "Hey, Holly and Keith, are you safe?" Wait, does he call him Keith? What's his name in the movie?
Frank. Frank is his name in the movie.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past Roddy Piper to say his real name in the movie, and they
Also,
just keep it.
The commentary on the movie, Roddy's name is Nada, the Spanish for nothing.
Nada, yeah.
Because those are the amount of lines he was able to memorize.
And he's not Spanish at all.
No.
So he's like yelling at the satellite, and she walks up revealing herself to have been a double agent.
Yeah, the whole time.
And she summons Flamecopter, who is also revealed to
There's
be
two helicopters.
Spacecopter,
Really?
Flamecopter, and his brother, Space Flamecopter.
Oh my God.
So they rise up, revealing themselves to be double agents the whole time too.
And then Roddy Piper's got a giant gun pointing at Holly, and she's like, "Put it down."
Yeah, we can still salvage this relationship.
Yeah, we can still make this work.
He's like, "I don't want relationships." But he drops the gun.
I want treats. And he's got a gun inside the wristband of his thermal shirt.
I like that it's never been shown or talked about.
He might as well have pulled it out of his wrist.
Yeah, they never established the 3-shot pistol he has in his sleeve.
He's got a Derringer in his sleeve.
Man.
Shoots Holly.
Oh, yeah.
He says, "Fuck it," and then shoots the satellite.
Then shoots the
and then
satellite.
he gets shot.
Well, he gets shot while he's shooting the satellite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, by the way, him shooting her is ridiculous because you've seen all these gory. Todd was talking about like the shotgun blast in the bank where like the blood's going everywhere, and this is like a Naked Gun type of thing because he shoots her.
Is.
You see nothing except her expression going, "Oh!"
Yeah, and
then she falls down.
slowly fades backwards.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You only can assume that either the special effects guy wasn't there that day or that he shot her below where the camera was framed. So she was like shot in the stomach. She's going to be fine.
No, because
Right.
the roof blows
That's
up.
fair. The roof does explode.
Oh, and then the final shot of him is just him flicking off the police helicopter.
Right.
Cut to boobs.
Yeah, well, okay, so we see a news broadcast.
Yeah.
And we see people like screaming and running through because now and if you notice, like, the aliens, they are the two anchors, but they're not in black and white anymore. Like, their
Right.
faces are like green now, which I didn't actually realize until the very last shot. And so now they can see all the masks. There's a guy that's at the bar, and everybody's looking at him like, "Ugh," and he's just frozen in time.
Right.
But everybody can see that he's an alien. And then we have some boobs and a lady on
A lady's
top.
having sex with an alien.
Right.
Yeah, well, but she didn't know it was
Yeah.
an alien.
She didn't know.
And she's enjoying herself and then looks down and notices her hands are in a big pile of oozy, gross formaldehyde skin. And he said, I wrote down what he said, but it left. He's like, what's wrong, baby?
Something like that, yeah.
And that's the movie.
Yeah, and that is the movie, guys.
yeah. there you
roll the
go. That's
credits.
awesome.
Yeah.
Oh,
my God. So having seen the movie, having talked about the movie, final thoughts.
Having
What do you guys
lived the
think about it?
movie.
I mean, I love it.
Yeah, Barrett, what do you think about it?
Can I tell you my last note for this movie?
Yeah.
Oh, hell
It
yeah.
was the last third of this movie was written by cocaine. Because I think it was.
Yeah. I mean, it is a
After
Mikey
being
movie.
so slow and so like deliberate and everything at the beginning, it just absolutely like hit the gas and like forgot like how to movie. It just decided I'm just
It
going to
forgot how to movie.
Yeah, I'm just going to throw stuff at it and we'll see what happens. It's the 80s. We're all going to get like coked up and everything anyway. So
Absolutely.
yeah, I think it was written by cocaine.
There's a part in the middle when he goes into the bank where it's like the movie is written by cocaine too, and I think they ran out. And then the scene in the alley was when the dealer was like, or they were going to track down the dealer, and then they finally get back with the cocaine right around the
Their
time.
dealer was only available on weekends, and this movie was written over the course of 2 weeks.
Right.
I mean, it's a classic.
It is. So, Jen, what do you think about it? Final thoughts.
I mean, I like the message of it, and it's bonkers. I would have preferred it if the entire movie was written by cocaine, I think. Like, the parts that are slow are slow. Yeah, but I mean, it was fun.
Well, I mean, I'll just say, I think that this is a perfect movie for today. I think everyone should be forced to watch this movie in school just so they can understand the world that they're going to have to work in.
Well, that's
because
true.
it is
There
so
you go.
true for what life is like now. It's insane.
It does have an oddly, like, relative message right now.
But I mean, things were the same back then. Like, everything is cyclical, and we're sort of coming to that same point in time.
Well, I think we're coming to the end of this cycle, hopefully.
Well, yeah, and we were coming to the end of that cycle too, because the time they're complaining about then is like the end of that first Reaganomics era when George H.W. Bush was elected president, and he only got one term because the public sentiment about trickle-down economics turned against him, and we hired Bill Clinton.
Exactly. So I picked this movie because of the philosophy
Yeah.
Exactly.
and how deep it is.
Absolutely. Yeah,
philosophy.
absolutely.
Yeah. But I mean, I will say, if I had been watching this by myself, I would not have made it to the sunglasses. I don't think.
I could definitely have seen you turning this movie off beforehand.
Oh, yeah.
But I would have watched this fucking thing through and then rewound it and watched it again.
I mean, this is a so bad it's good movie.
It
I
is.
think.
But it's also a so bad it's good movie with an amazing message.
True.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I can't believe I said that. All right, let's talk box office.
All right.
So what do you guys think the production budget for this movie? Remember, it was filmed probably 1987.
$8 million.
Okay, Jen, what do
I
you
think I know, so I'm going to recuse
Okay, so
myself.
Barrett, do you have a guess for what you think the production budget was?
Carpenter usually was low budget. I think it was under 5.
Wow, okay.
Nice.
It was $4 million.
Wow, good for you,
Yeah,
Barrett.
that's
Oh, really?
amazing. That's a great guess. And it's
CinemaSins guys are smart, man.
I know, they actually know what they're talking about. Guys, listen to the CinemaSins podcast. So domestically, it made
$50.
wait till we get to international.
Oh, sorry.
Domestically, it made $13 million.
Nice.
All right.
In its opening weekend, it made its money back. It made $4.8 million in its opening weekend. Internationally, it made $774. So it wasn't great internationally.
Yeah.
Normally, I do have like DVD and Blu-ray sales. I don't have it on this movie because they weren't tracked because it came out way before then.
Yeah.
In its first week out, it was the number one movie. It beat a movie called U2, Rattle and Hum, Everybody's All American. It beat The Accused and Halloween 4.
Oh.
Well,
Now, I
when
will
did this
say
come
this.
out?
Yeah, so it came out November 4th, 1988, and The Accused and Halloween 4 had been out for 4 weeks and 6 weeks, respectively. So they had been out for a while.
Rattle and Hum got a pretty limited release, I think.
Really?
Because nobody saw that movie.
Rattle and Hum was in 1391 theaters. They Live was in 1463. So it wasn't in a lot more
Really?
theaters.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But this was released with John Carpenter's name, right?
Oh, yeah.
So that's probably how it got a lot of that.
I'm sure. Yeah, John Carpenter has produced a lot of great stuff. So
Also, probably a lot of wrestling fans.
I'm
wanted to
sure
go see
that's
their
true.
I
movie.
mean,
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah,
He brought that wrestling
absolutely.
money.
Yeah.
So that's box office. Jen, do you have some fun facts for us?
I do have some fun facts.
Awesome.
Okay, so, and hold on, I have one that I understand now that I've seen the movie. Anyway, so this was based on the 1963 short story 8 o'clock in the morning by Ray Nelson. It's a science fiction story.
Sorry, the fact that this is based on anything is insane to me, but awesome.
So, and Carpenter actually saw it as a comic book adaptation.
Okay.
That's the and so then he sought out the story to read. So what happens is a man is hypnotized and he awakens, and all of the humans in the world around him are also hypnotized, and they're under control of aliens. And the man has until 8 a.m. to solve the problem.
What happens
Sounds
at
a
8
little-
a.m.?
Okay,
I don't know why it's 8 a.m. That doesn't seem
but
like
you
a
can read it.
yeah.
Okay.
John Carpenter wrote this under a pseudonym because at this point he was tired of his name being all over everything. And I think this was right around the time Christine had come out, and that was not really well received. But so he wrote it under the name Frank Armitage. And I'm not sure what Keith David's name in the movie is, but I think it's Frank. And I'm
Yeah,
not sure
it's
if it's
Frank.
Frank Armitage. But so that was the name he wrote it under and then used that name in the movie. And that was inspired by a Lovecraft character, Henry Armitage from the Dunwich Horror.
Interesting.
So this was definitely influenced by Reaganomics.
Yeah.
So John Carpenter was just thinking, what if the Reagan Revolution was controlled by aliens? And I think that's a very clear message.
It's very clear, yeah.
The 1% are not part of our world, and they're not trying to be, they're trying to use our world.
That makes sense.
But it was inspired by his distaste for consumerism and commercialization. which I think you can very clearly see.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and that's as much as I love the message in this movie, it is pretty heavy-handed.
Yeah.
It's real hard to miss it. Okay, so Rowdy Roddy Piper, some facts about him in this movie. So he met John Carpenter after WrestleMania 3 because John Carpenter was a big wrestling fan. And they ended up having dinner, and he was looking for somebody to star in this movie. And what I read about this was that basically they were having dinner, and he was like, yeah, so do you like stuff? Yeah, stuff's great. Hey, do you want to be in my movie? Sure. And that's
But
how it went down.
if you take out the word stuff and insert the word cocaine, that's the actual conversation.
And I mean, you can see it playing out,
Yeah.
like that. Yeah, I don't think he put a whole lot. I think he wanted to wanted to transition into acting.
Sure, a lot of wrestlers do that and do it well. I mean,
Right. Well, wrestling is acting.
yeah, absolutely. Like The Rock, Hulk Hogan did it.
The Rock is probably the most successful.
I don't know. Have you not seen Big Thunder?
I have actually.
Have you?
Dude, it's great, right?
No, there have been actually, good turns. Like The Rock is serviceable in what he does.
Yeah.
John
I think he's
Cena
great.
has been funny in some things
Yeah.
that he's done. Even Gina Carano has done a few things.
Mm-hmm.
Dave Bautista has done some pretty high level stuff.
Wasn't Hulk Hogan in No Holds Barred?
Yes.
Yeah,
remember
baby.
I think Hulk Hogan wrote No Holds Barred.
Okay, so you guys mentioned the little prop things that they're talking into that
Yes.
look like Ghostbusters.
Yes.
Because this was a pretty low budget, they did use those props. Those are the actual ones from Ghostbusters.
They're the actual ones?
They are. Yeah.
I made this
Oh,
whole
wow.
joke throughout watching the movie that Egon was in on it and one of the aliens
I know,
because of those props.
Yeah, so they're the
The
actual
thing that
ones.
looks like the ghost detector?
Yeah, those
Yes.
are the ghost detectors.
Oh,
Yeah.
no kidding.
Yeah.
That's
Whoa.
fucking amazing.
Ectometer.
The glasses that they use are leftover props from Big Trouble in Little China too,
I
because
can
they
see
just
that,
had a bunch
yeah.
left over.
That's amazing.
Yeah. John Carpenter actually improvised the score to this movie, which I was
Oh,
reading
my
that and I
God.
was really impressed. And then I heard it and I was like, oh, yeah, I can see it. He's kind of just noodling around John Wayne
He
style.
literally sat in his office for 90 minutes and ad-libbed this whole score and then did the whole nailed it. Wrap it up, boys.
Well, he actually went into the studio
Oh
and
my
the guy, the
God.
sound engineer, played the movie and he's just noodling around. So kind of.
Oh
yeah.
my God.
Yeah.
Dum.
So that scene at the beginning where he's wandering over
Yes.
the tempo of the music for the whole thing was set to his footsteps as he was walking over the train tracks.
I'm into it. That's great.
Nice.
But he also was the one who says the word sleep, sleep, and
Oh,
they just slow
okay.
his voice down. Yeah, and I mean John Carpenter, I like the score to Halloween. That's
Yeah, he's done
an
some good
iconic
scores.
Oh, of course.
score,
Yeah.
And I like the one to Christine.
And
too.
I'll say this, to be able to improv a score that's this good,
Right.
it's not great, but this good,
Yeah.
you got to be a great musician to do that.
Improvisation is hard. So they wrote the role specifically for Keith David because this was after the thing, and Keith David is amazing.
He's great.
Yeah, the fight scene took 3 weeks to rehearse.
I'm sorry. The thing that they filmed over the course of 45 minutes?
Yeah. No,
Okay.
They really planned it out, and I heard in the script it just kept saying fight continues, next page, fight continues, next page, fight continues.
Yeah.
They may have written down gets aboard or
Yeah.
knee crotch. at
Oh my
some point.
God.
Some of the most expensive scenes were the ones where they had to replace all of the ads because, and you said at this point it looks like an ad and then a painting.
Yes,
and
like a
that's how
drawing
they
or something.
did it.
Yeah. Okay.
Because that was really they couldn't make simultaneous billboards because you would have had to so they had to create all of those sets in the grocery store and make all of those little things and the labels that go all over them. And they said that ate up a lot of their budget.
I bet it would be super time consuming too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it looks really cool. and
It
I think
does-
it's
it looks
Does
great.
look cool.
Yeah.
I think Barrett's right. I think the effects kind of hold up.
Yeah, I mean, they're
think so,
practical.
too.
I think maybe just the little observation drones
Yeah.
that aren't practical effects,
Yeah.
but everything
Yeah,
else looks
yeah.
great. And
That-
those look great too.
And Holly's death scene does not. quite
Well,
hold.
those aren't even practical effects.
That's true.
They're
Those are just
they're not
not
special
effects.
effects. They're not practical effects. They're no effects.
She fell down.
I mean, maybe that's why she and Roddy Piper
He
like each
wildly
other.
missed that shot, and she just stumbles.
Okay, so this movie has become kind of a cult classic now, but
Yeah.
it has also been embraced by some problematic people. And because the message, I think, is so heavy-handed, some assholes read into that message too. So this is Alex Jones's favorite movie.
Oh my God.
And if you look
Oh
at
no!
like,
What? You're ruining this.
I know, sorry.
I get it now, Mikey.
well-
I get why you like it so much.
Because if you look at like the guy, because I had read that and I was watching it, like the guy who was breaking into the commercials and like talking about a lot of this conspiracy theory. I mean, you can kind of see elements of that. It's just that this is actually real.
I equate that to someone who's like watching Fight Club and thinks that Tyler Durden is the hero of that movie.
Exactly.
You're literally
Yeah.
just missing the point of the movie.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Roddy Piper was actually on Alex Jones's show, and
Oh, my
they were
God.
kind of fanning out about each other. So this has also been embraced by white supremacists.
Really?
Yep,
What?
saying it's an
Jesus.
example of anti-Semitism.
This is why we can't have nice things, guys.
Exactly. The allegory is saying that like Jewish people run the world. And there are examples that I read, but I'm not going to give them because it's bullshit and I don't want to play into any more
Yeah,
theories.
it's stupid. Again, it's
But-
people missing the point so hard they don't understand what the movie's about. Yeah.
And just trying to shoehorn their own propaganda into it. But so John Carpenter actually tweeted about that. What he said is They Live is about yuppies and unrestrained capitalism. It has nothing to do with Jewish control of the world, which is slander and a lie. Which,
Good for him, man.
I know, me too.
Man, good for
Yeah.
him.
And I think that's clear. Like if you're watching this movie, you have to really try to dig for any.
Oh
more
yeah,
of that
you're
message.
like a little past Jen levels of projection.
Exactly.
If you're seeing it that way.
Like way
Right.
past.
Yeah.
And those are my fun facts.
Well, thank you for your fun facts, Jen.
You're
We appreciate it.
welcome. I wish I had a more fun one on to end on. Okay, I've got one. Did you know Roddy Piper was also a professional wrestler?
What?
He was.
Nailed it.
man.
So,
All right.
Jen, do we do scary scale? I think
do
we have to
scary
do scary scale, right? Although I'm pretty sure I know what everyone's
yeah,
going to
we
be.
do scary scale.
But let's do scary scale.
Hey, listeners, our scary scale is a scale we use to rank the scariness of the movie. It's not a ranking of the quality of the film. It's how scared we were today when we watched it. Our 1 example is Ghostbusters. Our 10 example is Texas Chainsaw Massacre. All right, Barrett, what would you rank They Live?
I would say a -7.
Yeah.
Can't go negative, but so I'm going to default to a 1. But yes,
Yes,
I agree
absolutely.
with you. yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to say 1 as well. Mikey?
Definitely a 1.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
Jen?
I'm going to give it a 1.
Yeah, I mean, 1's all right. It's not scary. I
Yeah.
think people should watch this movie, though. I love it.
I did enjoy it, and I like the message, yeah. And I mean, it's not over the top horror. Like, we kind of had to make it fit as a horror movie. You know, and John Carpenter is really the
Yeah, John
connection.
Carpenter's the connection to the reason we did this. Yeah,
Right, right.
absolutely.
Although, like, there is aliens. I would consider that horror.
And there's a few jump scares.
I got
Jen got scared at one point,
which is
yeah.
funny.
So this week, you guys made me watch They Live. What are you making me watch next week?
There's no they. It's just me this month.
So, Mikey, what are you making me watch next week?
So, guys, one of the movies that Mikey suggested a while ago that I actually really enjoyed, although it disturbed me for life, was The Collector. And so next week we are going to be watching
The Collection.
The
Nice.
Collection.
All right. Well, guys,
Yeah, so watch The Collection.
for next week.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Mikey, are you ready to read a review?
Just edit it to where I'm ready.
I always do. So we're going to read a 5-star review. And when I say we, I really mean Mikey. So he's going to look one up. But while he's looking it up, just remember, if you want us to read your 5-star review, leave us a 5-star review.
It's just
and we will read it. And if you leave like a funny accent or something like that, Mikey can have some fun with it. It's a lot of fun.
All right, this one is from Miss Inky.
Oh, nice.
She's a binge-worthy. My favorite podcast. My favorite trio to listen to. The blend of personalities works so well. Mikey's laugh is infectious.
Yeah, it is.
Todd's jokes and Jen's way of explaining the movie makes it easy and fun. Listen.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you
Miss
so much.
Kimber.
Aw,
5
thank
stars.
you.
Well, thank you so much for that, Miss Kimber or Miss Inky.
Yeah,
That's a very sweet and nice review. And guys, leave us a 5-star review and we'll read your 5-star review.
we will. Yeah.
So before we do our plugs, I'd like to thank Barrett for joining us
Yes,
today.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. This was fun.
Yeah,
Barrett's my
absolutely.
friend.
Yeah.
So Barrett is obviously from Cinema Sins, but do you want to plug some of the stuff that you guys are doing over there? I know you guys do a lot every week.
We do a lot. We do a weekly podcast called The Sincast. We have 2 Cinema Sins videos every week at youtube.com. Seriously, I have to say youtube.com/CinemaSins. Just go to CinemaSins.
Yeah.
We also do music video sins. We do TV sins. We have another podcast called Behind the Sins, where we look at behind the process of creating these videos. So check us
Yeah,
out.
and Jonathan
Friend of
is
the pod.
often on our podcast. He's actually our guest in residence for our Friday the 13th series.
Right.
So listeners will be aware of who that is and that podcast, hopefully.
Yeah.
If you want to follow our stuff, we are at horrorvirgin.com or at horrorvirgin on socials. If you want to follow us individually, Jen is at Jen Ferratu, Mikey is at M. Randolph 24, and I'm at Todd J. Awesome. Barrett, what social do you want to have them follow you guys on?
We are at Cinema Sins and at Music Video Sins. and really at TV Sense. So
Nice.
basically
Awesome.
those three, you'll cover your bases.
And I am at Todd J. Awesome if you guys want to follow us on socials. And guys, if you can help financially support the show, please do by going to patreon.com/horrorvirgin. We have a lot of great awesome stuff at a lot of great awesome levels, bonus episodes, a lot of great video content, listener requests that all levels can both request and vote on. So guys, check it out. It's all there online. And if you can't help financially support the show, but still want daily free content and an awesome supportive community, go to facebook.com/groups/horrorvirgin for our Facebook group. It's like 700 people. It's awesome. Guys, check it out.
Since everybody's been kind of quarantined, like it's really coming together. People are posting videos.
It's awesome.
Really cool.
And we are obviously a member of the Consequence Podcast Network, so check out some of their great shows, like Kyle Meredith with This Must Be the Gig, The Opus. What's the new
Echo.
one? Ghost Echo. That's
is
the one.
new
Yeah.
one. There's the Assembly. There's the Fifth Dimension. There's
That's just a podcast about my dating stories.
But there's also Halloweenies and Losers Club, and you can catch me sometimes on the Losers Club. So
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and check out their website too, because I've been writing some
Yeah,
stuff.
Jen
about
gets
it.
published on there all the time.
I mean, it's it's no big deal, guys.
I love your pieces, by the way, Jen.
Oh,
I
thanks.
read them as much as I can. They're always very insightful and really has a nice perspective that, I don't always consider. So I really appreciate those.
Oh, well, thank you. That's
Aw.
so kind of you. Oh,
She is so red right now.
I know.
I know.
She looks like a tomato in Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
She's got the Rona.
Well, I guess we got to get out of here then.
yeah, if
guys.
she got the Rona, I got to go.
Yeah, this podcast is a bitch and it's back in heat.
Oh my God. I'm glad you're the one saying it, not me.
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't going to say it.
I was just gonna say it. Well, I mean, I did come here to podcast and chew bubblegum.
And I'm all at a podcast.
Podcast, yeah. So that's going to be it from us, guys. Thank you again, Barrett, for joining us.
Thank you so much,
guys.
Barrett.
I'm Jen.
I'm Mikey.
And I'm the Horror Virgin Todd, guys.
Have an amazing week.
Bye.
Who's going to say a funny thing?
Bubblegum nerds.
All right, we got to take Roddy Piper out back and put him down.
Oh.
Like old Yeller?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh.
I'll do it, Paul. He my dog.
Consequence Podcast Network.